Welcome back to the JavaScript Essential Training. In this tutorial, we'll actually be talking about nesting inside of JavaScript. So in our previous example, we used the if and the else if statements in JavaScript to direct our code based on a condition that we actually set up in the parameters. We can also nest conditional statements in JavaScript by putting if statements inside of if statements. Nesting is a popular way in programming to check conditions inside of a conditional statement. It's a popular way of checking on multiple conditions of a particular condition. So let's move into our development environment and I'll demonstrate what I mean by nesting if statements inside of JavaScript. All right, so let me drop into our development environment. I'm going to confirm that our Apache server is up and running. Bring up Sublime Text 3, which will be my text editor. I've got my template.html file loaded. I'm going to go ahead and load up Google Chrome inside my section 2 folder so we can actually do our demonstration. All right, the first thing I want to do, let's go ahead and do save as. I'm going to go ahead and save as nesting_1.html. We're only going to have one of these. But again, I want you to make certain that you have copies of all the files that we use throughout our demonstrations. So nesting is not limited to just conditional statements. I'm going to make that clear right off the bat. You can actually do nesting. And actually, we do nesting much more frequently with functions than we do with conditional statements. But I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate it in conditional statements because once we move further along in the tutorial series, you're going to see where we nest a lot of functions as our applications become larger. Makes it a lot easier to reuse our code. So I'm going to go ahead and change our title, Nesting in JavaScript. I'm going to come down into my container. I'm just going to go ahead and put in an H3. I'm just going to call this nesting. Go ahead and close out the H3. I'm going to open up a script tag. Come down a couple of lines and then go ahead and close out that script tag so we actually have a place to put our JavaScript code. Now inside my script tag, I actually got a little creative with this particular demonstration because we're actually going to do a couple of things we haven't done yet. We're actually going to generate some numbers. We're going to do a couple little alert boxes. So again, you're going to be learning some different types of concepts inside JavaScript as we move forward with this tutorial. The first thing I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and create a variable, and I want to call the variable temp, and that's going to be equal to 0. And I just want to have this variable created so that it exists. So as we use it inside of our little application, we don't have any problems. Next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and create a random number. We haven't done that before, but that's something you do a lot in programming. So I'm going to take that temp variable and I'm going to say that it's equal to math.floor. And we haven't covered mathfloor yet or math_random, but we will in a future tutorial. These are built-in methods inside of JavaScript that allow us to do things with numbers. Just understand that right now I'm going to create a random number inside of JavaScript. And what I'm going to do with that is I'm actually going to use that as we do some calculations based on what that number is. Right below that, I'm going to go ahead and open up an alert box, and I'm going to say it's, and I'm going to then I'm going to concatenate that temp variable onto this alert box. So it's going to be whatever that random number is, degrees outside. And then what I want to do is I actually want to add to that, and I'm going to use some nested if statements to do that. I'm going to go ahead and copy these so you don't have to watch me type them. And we'll talk about this code as we put it in. So I'm saying if the temperature is less than 70 degrees, I want to say if temperature is less than 30 degrees, then I'm going to say alert, it's less than 30. So what I'm looking for now is a temperature that's less than 70 and less than 30. I'm actually going to change this to 69 because I actually have my text at 69. And then I'm going to say else, I'm going to generate an alert that's going to say between 30 and 69. So this is going to be printed inside my alert box that we're generating. Once we click that first box, we're going to get a second box telling us where it is. Then I'm going to go again with another else statement. This else is connected to our very first if. And it's going to say if the temperature is greater than 85, alert, the temperature is greater than 85, else the temperature is between 70 and 85. So basically what I've done is I've covered the temperatures that I have that I'm generating based on my random number. Let's go ahead and bring up my script tag so you can see where the end of this is. I'm going to go ahead and save all these changes. Great time to pause if you want to type this in. And again, the whole purpose of this demonstration is to show you that we can nest conditional statements inside of conditional statements so we can check for multiple conditions. There are better ways to do this, as you're going to see as you learn more and more about JavaScript, but this is still quite popular and I wanted you to see it. I'm going to try to keep the tutorial short. I just wanted to introduce you to this because it is used, it is popular, but it's not something that I use a lot because there's actually better ways of doing it, as you'll see as we go through the tutorials. But I did want you to be familiar with it because it's something you may see as you're going through other people's code. Now let's go into our browser. Let's go ahead and load up nesting_1.html. You'll see it's 96 degrees outside. And again, that's based on the random number that we've generated. When I click OK, it's going to tell me it's greater than 85. So what we've done is we've come all the way down to this if statement and said, okay, so that number is greater than 85. So we set it up there. If I refresh this, I can get a new number. Now it's 21 degrees outside. And again, now it's less than 30. Because that temp is less than 30, it's generating this part of the conditional statement. Again, one more time, we can generate that random number. Now it's 29 degrees outside, and again, less than 30. Let's do one more so we can get a different type of number. Now it's 59 degrees outside. So if it's working correctly, we should actually see the alerts between 30 and 69 when I click OK, and it tells us it's between 30 and 69. So this is one way that you can actually nest conditional statements inside of conditional statements in JavaScript. Again, not really popular with conditional statements. It's very popular when we start getting into functions, as you're going to see as we move along further in the tutorials, because we will be nesting a lot of functions inside other functions in JavaScript. So I look forward to seeing you in the next tutorial.